Hi, good evening, everyone, my YouTube friends and family. Okay, it's Auntie Pauline again, and you know what? Auntie Pauline just cannot sit still. I was not planning on doing any video today because I told you of the situation with my throat. My throat is not so well because of the flu, right? But I sat here and I was like, you know, just reminiscing and picturing the goodness of God and thinking about all that is happening in our world today and how mankind, their hearts are just failing them for fear. And we realize that we are living in the last days where perilous time is happening and the Bible speaks of it. But how much do we appreciate the gift that God has given us? The gift of life. Hmm? And how much do we appreciate the fact that God gave His only Son to die in our stead, and we in turn should just love Him and love each other instead of tearing down and killing each other. So I just come on here this evening just to give an illustration and to tell you this story of what love really is and the sacrifice that a father has given up just to save many, to save us, to save a dying world. And as I tell you this story, I just don't want you to just listen and keep it to yourself, but listen this story and look into your lives and let us all examine ourselves and ask ourselves the question, what am I doing in return for the sacrifice that God has given us or that God has done? What are we doing in return? And in order to reach everyone, you can just share the video. And for those who have not yet subscribed, subscribe to the video. Leave your comment down below. Hit the like button if you like it, if you are inspired, or if you are motivated, just hit the like button. And let us tell somebody about Jesus and His great sacrifice for us, so that somebody may look into themselves and make a right about turn before it's too late. Now, as I said, my throat is giving way and I am not supposed to talk that long. I don't know how long I can go, but if you see me sipping a little water now and then during my presentation, see with me because my throat is getting dry. All right. As usual, I like to start with this introductory song. And remember, the music playing in the background is not mine. I don't have the right to it. All right. So it's not mine. God sent His Son. They call Him Jesus. He came to live and died to buy my pardon. Sing along with me. God sent His Son. They called Him Jesus. He came to love, heal and forgive. He lived and died to buy my pardon, and face tomorrow because he lives. All fear is gone because I know he owns the future, and life is worth a living just because he lives. How sweet to hold a newborn baby and feel the pride and joy he gives, but greater still the calm assurance this child can face uncertain days because he lives. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know, yes I know, he owns the future, and life is worth a living just because he lives. Bless the Lord. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know that my God, he holds the future. Life is worth a living just because he lives. Oh yes. As I said before, the bridge, I'm going to speak about the bridge. The bridge, the story of sacrifice. Story of sacrifice. There was once a bridge operator who had a young son whom he loved dearly. His only son. And he loved that son dearly. They were inseparable. They do things together, they eat together, they play together. They even sometimes go to work together. That young boy often go with his father to watch him work, to watch him raise and lower the drawbridge. It was a drawbridge. And that bridge, it allows boats to pass under or passenger trains to cross over. So that bridge has two operating systems to allow the boats to pass under, so the father has to draw the bridge to lower it so that the boat can go under, and he has to lift it so that the train can cross over. Yes, and bear in mind that both cannot happen at the same time. So both the boat and the train, they had their certain time of crossing. All right, they are not to collide with each other because these two things cannot happen at one time. All right, so one day the father relented and allowed his son to come to work with him. And here's what happened. I'm gonna cut this video so that I can start a new one in order to get the entire presentation when I upload it. All right. Okay, so I was saying his father allowed him to come to work on this day with him. His father said to him, "Stay here at a safe distance." Father warned him, "Stay here at a safe distance while I go to raise the bridge, for the boat is coming." All right, so he's gonna raise the bridge because the boat is coming. The boy stayed where his father had left him and watched the bridge as it slowly lifted up in the sky. That must be nice, watching bridge lifting up, lifting it. Suddenly, the boy heard a faint cry of an approaching passenger train. Wow, this. Okay, let me go again. Suddenly, the boy heard the faint cry of an approaching passenger train. This sounds like trouble. It was coming a bit sooner than they had expected. So you realize that it shouldn't come at that time, and if it was coming, they should have given notice, right? The father, he was up in the control room. He could not hear neither the whistle from the train. He could not hear the whistle from the train, nor could he hear the boy crying out to him. Because in the control room it was noisy. So he did not hear the train, and he did not hear when his son was crying, warning him that the train was coming. No, the boy saw the train racing closer and closer, and he started to run along the platform to reach where his father was. Because he knew that there was a lever where he could pull near the operating gears of the bridge. The boy ran to the door up in the platform and tried to lower himself down to reach that lever. So he know how to pull it, to operate it, because he had gone to work with his father. So because his father couldn't hear him and his father couldn't hear the train, he was trying to help. Right? So he rushed across the platform and he tried to lower himself down to reach the lever. Oh my Lord, the worst thing happened. He lost his balance and he fell into where the gears came together and he was caught. Whoa. Whoa. At the same time, the father saw his son fell down into the hole in the platform. He saw the fast approaching train. That was when oh Lord. In horror, he realized that he didn't start lower down the bridge immediately. It would not be done in time for the train to pass safely. The train would crash into the river below, killing hundreds of innocent people. That train was like a Titanic ship filled with people. Hundreds of people was on the train doing their own thing. And when it says innocent, not that they were all Christians, but they were ignorant to what was taking place, and there were chance for them to surrender their life, right? So they were innocent. Some of them, it described, they described their action as some of them were making out in the back of the train. Some were drinking, merrymaking, and all sort of things was happening. But guess what? Here today, that is happening in our world today. Drinking, marrying, partying, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. And yet, God, with his infinite mercies, he still extends mercy. He is still pleading for us, for those persons who have not yet surrendered their lives to him, to come to know him before the end come. So it was the father. He was faced with an unimaginable dilemma. He had two options: race to save his son at the cost of hundreds of lives, or sacrifice his son to save the passengers on the train. Whew. That's like falling at on a hard place. You are at the place of a rock and a hard place. Yeah, that's how it is described. What would you do? What would I do? My only child is in danger. My only child is about to die. But hundreds of people are about to die too. And I can only save one. Save the people on the train or save my son, my only son. Save my one son or save hundreds of people on the train. I have one choice. And that's what his father has, one choice. So he made the only choice he could and he pulled the lever to lower the bridge. In spite of the noise of the descending bridge and the oncoming train, he still heard the angry scream of his beloved son. Can you just imagine? Whew. Can you just imagine? He let go the lever and sent his son dying while he saved hundreds of people on that train. And regardless of the noise the train was making, he could still hear the anguish cry of his only son. He could still hear the anguish cry of his son screaming, being crushed to death between the gears of the bridge. You could hear those bones crushing. The father ran to the platform of the train. He ran to the platform as the train was passing by. Most people on the train simply ignore the man crying on the platform. Others look out of the window and stared, totally oblivious of the unspeakable sacrifice that had just been made on their behalf. They gave no other thought or concern to this man who had just given up what was most precious to him so they could live. Now, do you see the parallel here? Can you understand the picture this story paints? The sacrifice of one offers life to all. God did not take pleasure in watching his son die. No, it had to have been agonizing for God to stand by as Jesus died, covered in the immense darkness of all our sins. There was no choice. It had to happen. The sacrifice had to be made in order for us to be able to live. And like those people on the train, we have this choice regarding what we will do with that sacrifice. We can choose to ignore it, to ignore God, not even bothering to consider what God did on our behalf. We can choose to look at God briefly, to glance in passing, and then continue with our own priorities and our own plans. Or we can acknowledge what it was that God sacrificed to give us life. We can embrace it and accept it on our behalf and choose to live our lives for God. Where are you on that train? The question is asked. Where am I on that train? Can you see the anguish in the Father's eyes as you pass by? Do you know that he offered his greatest sacrifice so that you could live? So that I could live? Will you accept it? Will you choose to give your life to him? Hmm? Will you choose to give your life to God today because of what he did for us? That's the question. Let's ponder it. I will stop here. Just ponder it and think about it. God bless you.